Welcome back to Walsall Fan TV, the joy and the pain. We are here for some more Walsall insights. And today we have a very special guy with us, Leigh Pomlett. Hi, Leigh. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Hello. You're welcome.
Jolly good. We've got several questions, but we'll sort of start off with the fun stuff, I think. Life as a chairman. I think when we talked previously, you found it sort of very different from your normal existence in your business life. You've had a very successful career, run much larger organisations than Walsall, and running a football club is somewhat different. So give us some kind of insight of that transition between the two.
Well, I think the biggest difference is the intensity. I mean, you when you're being a big corporate like I was, it's you're running a very, very large business. What in my case, 52,000 people. But the intensity of owning the town's football club and having to deal with the intensity of the supporters is just greater. So, actual fact, you have more pressure in the football world than you do in a big corporate world. We're having to satisfy shareholders and big customers, but having to satisfy the intensity of 5,000 or 6,000 Walsall fans is more intense. So the intensity is more, the pressure's more, particularly if you lose. So it's just a different intensity, really. You're more in control when you're running a business because there's nothing in the business that I ran I couldn't do, but I can't play football.
Yeah.
Well, not very well. So when those 11 players across the line on my behalf on a Saturday afternoon, if they put in a dreadful performance, they're still a lot better than I am.
Yeah.
But in my previous life, there's nothing that I couldn't do.
Well, I suppose in the business world, you've got you can control variables, can't you? You've got your KPIs that you can monitor and controls you can put in place. But when your main man gets injured or your main man gets sent off, you kind of messes up the plan a little bit.
You're a bit snookered, yeah. So it's just a different intensity. It's a different level of pressure than running even a big corporate. So I think the big differences are the pressure that you have to endure and the intensity of it because the fans are in your face. You know, customers in a big corporate, you have a quarter review with probably every month or every 2 months. But when you're running a football club, they're in your face and they're there all the time. And on a Saturday afternoon, there is no escape.
And this is the big question. Are you enjoying it?
What was the big question, mate? The line cracked then.
Are you enjoying it?
Yes, but not all of it. I think you enjoy a majority of it. I enjoy being the chairman, but I don't enjoy all of it. I don't enjoy, some of the pressure, the intensity of it. I don't enjoy losing. I don't enjoy coming out of Scunthorpe on a Tuesday night having lost.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was awful. So I don't. There are aspects of it that you would have to be insane to enjoy. But for the most part, I enjoy being the chairman of Walsall Football Club. But there are aspects of it that you don't enjoy because I'm only human.
Yeah, I think there's two ways to look at it, really. I think my mind on it changes, but from your point of view as chairman, do you consider yourself as the owner or the custodian?
Well, technically, legally, the owner, but mindset, the custodian for a time, for a few years until somebody else takes over. So, again, a very different mindset from the corporate life. I do own it because legal documents tell me I own it. But the feeling you get, the mentality you have, is a custodian of a football club, which is almost a community asset for a while, which you take care of. But for a period in time, you own it. But there's no getting away from the fact that you actually own it because that's a legal position. But you don't feel that you own it in the sense that It's not like any other business. I own other businesses. I absolutely know I own them. But with a football club, it's a sort of different mentality because you are a custodian of it for a period of time. So, I do feel differently about the football club than the other businesses.
Yeah. We talked before about a 5-year plan. I think with what's happened with coronavirus and that, a lot of people's plans have changed. Where are you on that revised plan now?
The plan has not changed. It's been delayed by 2 years because of a completely unforeseen global pandemic. But in terms of what I set out to do with the club is to get it out of League Two, to reunite with its freehold. They are the two things that I most wanted to do. And once that's done, I'm going.
Okay.
I'm not going because I want to go. I'm going because at that point, if you're serious about a football club and you want to be in, top of League One and going into the Championship, then you have to take a good look at yourself because you very soon become the wrong guy. And so I will get out at the right point, the right people, when I feel it's absolutely the right time to do it. But my legacy has to be the reunification with the freehold.
I agree.
That's it.
And back into League One.
It gets back into League One. We should have. I think we can say, well, the coronavirus has hindered us. Well, it has to an extent, but other clubs have been promoted through coronavirus, and I need to make sure we're in a position to do that, which is what I work on. I'll be with Michael this week down in. We met down south, and so I'm working on that, and I'm working on the other strategic imperatives of this football club, and I won't rest until those done, and they will be done.
Excellent. Can we talk about Poundland a little bit? That's an excellent deal for the club. And for it to sort of go past the Bankses and the Home Serve as far as income generation is concerned, that's a massive job well done. I think Roy Wally, was he sort of a key part of that?
He was key to it, absolutely. His relationship with Poundland, and I got involved in it and I met with them. But in terms of the legwork and the putting the deal together, I've got to give huge credit to Roy and Adam, his team here. But Roy deserves the plaudits for that deal. I was there to guide and eventually sign it, but the actual work was done by Roy. And often people ask me, what do the directors actually do? Well, there's a prime example of what they do. And without Roy, we wouldn't have that deal. And that deal is probably, I would venture to suggest one of the best commercial deals in League One or League Two.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of work on it, and he's doing some more deals, even this week with the sponsors around the stadium, and another couple of deals have been pulled off over the last 48 hours, and he's been involved in both of them.
Excellent. One of our followers suggested pitch detailing, similar they do in the Premier League. They have like a 4G element to the pitch around the outside, so it protects the pitch along the where the linesman's running up and down, and then getting sponsorship sort of behind the goal and around the side of the goal. That's another potential route.
It is an idea. There's no doubt. I mean, what the Premier League do around the pitches is very expensive, so we'd have to look at that. But in terms of sponsoring it and doing it, that's an idea I haven't had, and it's worth thinking about. Yeah.
Okay, good one. We've already touched slightly on directors. When things aren't going so well, and we're enduring the pain, as the mantra goes on the channel, people do sort of look at sort of like, what are the directors doing? And obviously what Roy Wally's done is good. For future directors of the club, what would people need to do to become a director? Is there sort of like a certain investment that they need to give? What would be their return, and what benefits would they expect?
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to come onto the board unless they're prepared to add some value, and that can come in the shape of money, or it can come in the shape of some skill set that we haven't got. At the moment, I think the skill set that we've got is, we're commercially good, property-wise we're good, we're very experienced, we've got football skills in there, but reality is it would have to be, to get on the board of Walsall Football Club, you're going to have to put your hand in your pocket.
Yeah. But that's sort of...
As I did when I joined the board 10, 11 years ago. You can come with all the best intentions in the world, money. So the answer is money.
So I know when they're getting into specifics of money is a good thing, but I mean, something in the region of 100 grand, would that get somebody in?
No.
So it needs... Dad, you can't... No, okay. That was just one I wanted to just touch on.
It's a good try there, but the answer is no, that would not get you on the board of a football club. Definitely, categorically not. It wouldn't have got me on the board of a football club, and it won't get you on one either.
Man, I haven't got 100 grand. I'm not saying that. No, it was just sort of thinking sort of what the ballpark figure is for that kind of to get an involvement.
Well, I'm not going to give you one, but other than say it's a lot more than that.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, couple of fan questions. Given the cost of living crisis and a lot of people struggling at the moment, which we very sympathetic of, is there any possibility to extend the early bird?
We may. I think we have to be careful about this because people that have put their money into the early bird, they get a bit annoyed if we sort of do it again. It sort of undervalues them, and the take up on the early bird was very good, better than previous year and better than pre-COVID, which surprised me. So it's not out. It's something we have discussed. We might do it, but we haven't yet made a decision to do it. But we could do.
Yeah, maybe sort of like a halfway house between the full
could be
price, perhaps.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if we reach that conclusion before the start of the next season, but at the moment, it is a conversation we've had. If I'm honest with you, it's not a decision we've made.
That's good. It is a difficult time for people at the moment.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. I do get that, which is why I've gone on record as saying how pleased I am that the take up on the season tickets, which has exceeded my expectations, if I'm honest with you, and thanking everyone for that. We try to cap it. If I was to fully recover the economic damage over the last, I think 3 years since we increased prices, I would need to recover between 15 and 20%.
Got you.
We actually increased the prices by 5%. So the club is having to absorb a lot of pain on the cost side of things. But I decided we'd try and absorb some of the pain, or most of it, but some of it I had to put over to the supporters, but as low as I could possibly do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's appreciated. Are you comfortable sharing? Are you comfortable sharing how many season ticket holders we have now?
Yeah, upwards of 2,500 as of this morning. I checked. So we've gone through the 2,500 mark and progressing nicely. That's people that have actually paid money for early bird season ticket holders. In fact, they're selling this week, even post early bird. So they're still selling, even though the early bird period is. We are north of 2,500 at the moment.
Yeah, I think given if you're going to attend every game, there's still big savings without the early bird, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, so we'll do whatever we can. Really, I mean, what I want to do is get as many in the stadium as I possibly can. But we all know, don't we, that if it doesn't matter what I price them at, if we're not winning football matches, people don't come and watch it.
Yeah, that's. I think the more games we win, the more people want to come. And
there is a direct correlation. The moment you start winning football matches, the stadium fills up. The moment you start losing them, they don't. It's just the most direct correlation there is in football.
And the biggest challenge, which is a very big challenge, is getting Walsall back into the Championship, because that's where your core support would really rise.
Well, it would. I mean, you'd probably we did 9,000 last weekend, didn't we, against Swindon? But that's probably the best crowd we've had for 2 or 3 years. I'd like to see that most weeks, and to do that, though, the reality is have to be back in the Championship. It's not going to happen in League One.
No. But at League One, there's quite a few teams in League One now with good levels of support. So that would help.
There are. Oh, yeah, it absolutely would help. It would help. But I think the big jump is if you get in the Championship, then the stadium will probably not be big enough.
Yeah, probably extend the away end then, perhaps.
Possibly, yeah. You could mirror the home end and the away end, so you could do that. But let's talk about that near the time we've gotten the League One rather than League Two. So
getting carried away with ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you're aware, Walsall are approaching their 5,000th competitive game.
Yeah, I am aware.
Have we got anything planned for that? I think we're about 12 games away.
No, because I only found out yesterday.
How did you?
my wife told me, if I'm honest with you.
Did you? Well, that's good to have a good woman aside. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, she told me. So, we will do something. I so literally, genuinely only found out yesterday, but having found out, we'll give the boys here the task of doing something with it. So, yeah, I know it's the 5,000. Yeah.
Excellent. Good one. A big subject, which we've already touched on very briefly, was the freehold. How close are we to making that happen?
Yeah, I mean, if the negotiations are concluded, you're talking about a very big negotiation here. You're talking, huge. As I've said to you, I won't rest until that situation is cleared up. We are genuinely working on that and in negotiations with it. I can't give you a timing because there's so many variables involved in that. But we are working on it. So that's all I can say at this stage is we are working on it, and we're genuinely working on it. And I work on that more than anything else.
I bet you do.
But it's a big transaction. It's a big transaction. So these things don't happen overnight. But we are working on it, and I won't rest until it's done.
Yeah, I think it's getting on to something near £500,000 a year back into the budget effectively.
No property solution though. Whatever we have in the future will be free. There'll be some degree of cost associated with being in a stadium, but it's certainly a better option for the football club to own its freehold. Otherwise, why would I spend my waking life doing it?
Indeed. This may not be a popular question. Jeff Bonsa, do you still have any communication with him?
No.
No, because you were on the board for a long time, so you obviously knew him quite well. But so
I don't. But Jeff and I do not talk. No. We don't need to. He's gone his way. I'm gone my way. And the answer is no. We do not talk.
No, I just wonder whether he's like an associate friendship sort of thing.
No. He made it very clear when he left he was going in his separate way. And when I give up being chair, I don't think I will look back either. I think I won't make any contact with the incoming chairman after I've gone. I think once your time is done, your time is done. Move on. There's not much value. I mean, I don't talk to people that succeeded me in corporate life.
No.
I've moved on. So I don't read anything to that. It's just Jeff and I have not fallen out in any way at all. We just don't feel the need to talk, and that's not a surprise. That's what I expected to happen.
Okay, good. The squad budget and things like developing and doing something with the Saddlers Club, obviously within the freehold discussions as well. That's sort of, it's where you place your priorities, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the Saddlers Club again. it will be done. We have plans which the Sads Club will be done. I think the player budget is a separate issue. Yes, I was talking to the Express the Star this week about this. There's too much focus on the player budget. The player budget is fine. Is it as much as Michael wants? Of course it's not. Pep Guardiola hasn't got the budget he wants either. But he wants more.
Not now he's signed Haaland, he hasn't.
Yeah, well, he probably wouldn't stop him. But I think we have a perfectly competitive playing budget. But, as I've said many times, the club with the biggest budget in League Two did not get promoted this year.
No, Salford, yeah.
Well, you said Salford, I didn't.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of clubs above us in the league with a smaller budget.
Yeah.
And there's clubs below us with a bigger budget. So there's not a direct correlation between the budget and success.
I think
that said, I will try and give Michael, and I met him in Gloucester this week to discuss it, as a competitive budget as we're able to give him. And he pushes hard, he wants to bring in players, and he pushes me, sensibly hard, and I would in his position too. But we can throw millions at it, and other clubs have, but they haven't gone up, and therefore it's a complete waste of money.
Yeah,
it is a complete. If you're spending millions trying to get a club out of League Two and it doesn't happen, you have wasted that money.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, and clubs that we have to learn our lessons. Clubs that really throw huge amounts of money at football in an effort to get somewhere, they go bust. And it won't ever happen. So sometimes you have to be unpopular and say, no, you're not. He's not coming here on that money. But Michael will have a competitive budget, and if I can give him more, I will give him more.
I think there's a little game you can play on your phone that you can be a football chairman, and
don't do it.
Well, I can tell you within that app, it's not long before the supporters are moaning, asking you to resign and all that sort of business.
Yeah.
But,
it's
a difficult task. I appreciate.
We had a sensible budget last year, a budget that should have got us much higher in the league than it did. Michael will certainly have the ability to spend and bring in some players, and he will take full advantage of it. I know he will, because that's the way he is.
Yeah, and I think with his history of doing well in cup competitions, that's perhaps extra revenue for the playing side as well.
Well, it is, because you never budget for success. You budget to be. What I mean by that is you don't budget. When you set your budget for the year that we'll get through to the third or the fourth round of the FA Cup. So if you do, that becomes significantly additional money. You never budget for selling a player. You never budget for the fact that something happens. They call it football fortune. That you're on TV a lot. If you're on TV a lot, you can really get some money out of it. Yeah. So, but we never budget for that. So when it comes, it's additional money, and Michael gets it.
Yeah. What do you think really went wrong this year then?
I think. I honestly don't really know. I think the budget wasn't the issue. The squad was built methodically. There's some very good players we brought in. I think it was just that 7-game losing streak in the middle of the season which killed us.
But the thing that happened with the Mannie Month, obviously we don't need to go into details of that, but I mean, surely that should have been on the radar when he signed.
You say surely. Well, it wasn't. It's not up to the football club to tell us. If anyone was going to tell us, this is a personal thing from Mannie Month. It's nothing to do with the football club. Yeah. And we did not know about it when he joined the football club. But I don't think Mannie thought in a million years it would ever come to what it did.
Well, I think for what it's worth, 7-game ban, I think was rather overzealous for the offence.
Well,
but
I don't think we should go there, to be honest with you. But I think
No.
we did know about it when he joined us, his club that he came from didn't tell us, and so we were left with something we couldn't plan for.
Yeah.
7 matches. It could actually have been worse under the rules. Could have been worse. But 7 matches was certainly a bad blow for us, and it did seem to coincide with that bad run that we went on. That cost us, cost our season, because we hadn't gone on that 7-match losing streak. I think we'd been in a pretty sensible situation to have an assault on the playoffs. But when you've lost 7 in a row, you basically you're blowing it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jamie Fullerton.
Yeah.
He, I talked to him on the fans forum, and he talked about his checklist for players, a very thorough checklist of character and sort of a deep analysis of each player. So I think personally, I'm disappointed that he hadn't picked up things like that. And
but he can't pick up something if someone doesn't tell you.
Right, I think
there's no way of finding out unless the player tells you.
Yeah,
you can't find out. I mean, there's laws around this, about personal history and about stuff. There's no way Jamie could have, or anybody else could have found out about it. At the end of the day, we got all the centre halves, and we missed Mannie when he was out for those 7 games. But it wasn't just Mannie being there. It wasn't being there for those 7 games. We didn't play well.
Yeah,
I think still put Scunthorpe to the sword, but we didn't, because we couldn't hit the back of the net. That's nothing to do with Mannie. It's just the fact that strikers didn't hit the back of the net.
Well, I think the last few years, we've not really had. I know Adebayo did very well, but I mean, we've not really had hardly any strikers. Like the start of this season, before George Miller came in on loan, we hadn't really got any strikers as such.
Well, apart from the very, very biggest transfer I think we've ever done, which was Connor Wilkinson.
But he's more of a attacking winger, isn't he, rather than a centre forward?
No, he's not. No, he can play both, but he's a centre forward. He can play both, but he's a centre forward. He can play out wide. He can cut in, but he's a centre forward. So we brought Connor in, and now he's badly injured, I'm afraid, as you well know.
Yeah.
So no, we brought Connor in as the main striker with George, and at the time the lad from Huddersfield. Phillips, yeah. There was, and of course, the other striker that we brought in was Brendan Kiernan, who had a very good record at Harrogate, and Tyrese Shade from Leicester. So we brought in some firepower, but it was all built around the fact that we'd brought in Connor, who is a very, very good player.
I agree. I agree. Connor Wilkinson, tremendous quality, but I think despite his height, we really struggle up front for aerial power.
We do, and I think not only we do. I agree with you. I think aerial power, but the aerial power should come from the centre halves as well. And I think if you look back through our season, I think we scored a couple of goals with headers in the first part of the season, but we haven't looked threatening at corners.
No.
And the centre halves, I think we scored a goal at Barrow, didn't we? With Donovan scored.
Yeah.
We scored a couple of early on in the season from headers. Ash Taylor scored a couple, didn't he? But I don't think we have been dangerous enough with corners. That's not necessarily a striker thing. It's a big man at the back thing as well. It's our centre halves have not been threatening enough, and I know that Michael is aware of that. So our goal scoring record was okay, but I would have expected more. And Connor is a quality player, and otherwise some of the goals he scored this season are some of the best I've seen by a footballer from Walsall.
Yeah, the goal against Newport, that was that goal of the season competition wasn't really a competition, was it?
Well, not in my eyes. I think it was so far the best goal we've scored this season. I don't know why the others bothered putting in, but they had to. But there were some good goals, but that was the way he took it and the way he hit it, because he normally hammers with his left foot, not his right foot.
Yeah.
So it was a great goal, and the one I enjoyed probably most this year.
Yeah, that was. My legs went all wobbly when that went in. It was like just such emotion, and
I think it's when it happened as well, right at the end of the game, and because he'd scored for them.
Yeah, he scored own goal with his head. Yeah,
beautiful header. Yeah, yeah, but he's a good player, a good lad, and so I just wish he wasn't so injured. I saw him training ground last week, and he was in really good spirits. But and you saw him at the Swindon game. But it's a bad injury, and it'll take him a while to get over it.
I think the bringing in the director of football, Jamie Fullerton, that didn't work at all, did it? Really?
Well, it did in part. I mean, why do I say that? Well, he found Michael Flynn. I didn't. He found Connor Wilkinson. I didn't. And he found Jack Earing. I didn't.
Yeah.
So to say it didn't work doesn't reflect the reality. It just ran out of runway a bit. He, I felt we needed a change, and to be honest with you, so did he. So these things happen, but he did some good stuff, and as I say, bringing in quality players like Connor and Jack were his work. And certainly Michael Flynn was seen for hours with Jamie before I ever met Michael Flynn. And he did all the legwork for me on that. So when you say it didn't work as much as I wanted it to, but in many respects it did work. And will I ever go down that route again? Yes, I will.
So I think there's a lot of rumours around the bullying thing, which I think you've mentioned on your videos previously. Would I be right in assuming you weren't aware of that history and reputation before he came to the club?
Look, I'm not going to get into this, but all I'll say is that when we took him on, I spoke with very senior people in the Scottish FA, in other clubs, chairman that know him, and with Crystal Palace. And he came with glowing reference.
Yeah.
But, and I asked a lot of people, do you know anybody in football? In my experience of, say, in the last 3 years, no one comes completely clean and clear of everything.
No.
And if you go and look for it, you'll find it. But you do your due diligence. You speak to people that know him. And I was completely satisfied he'd come in and do a great job for Walsall. In many respects, he did some really good stuff, but it just ran out of legs a little bit at the end, and I felt a change was needed. And to be fair to Jamie, so did he.
So, Mike Flynn, I think in some ways, Jamie Fullerton almost replaced himself by bringing in Mike Flynn and Rob Williams.
Yeah. There's not only that, but Wayne Hatswell as well.
Yeah.
These guys have got considerably more experience, and so he didn't have done himself out of a job particularly. But I think there's more experience in the management team now than there was at the beginning of the season. So that's true, but it doesn't mean that I will never put on a sporting director again, because I think I will.
Yeah, I think I was going to say that was my question really. Do you think you'll be adding a director of football back in?
Yeah, I will, but I'm going to take my time over it. I think the role definition needs to be thought out. I was speaking to other sporting directors of other clubs recently as part of that process. And I think you've got to be really careful about the role definition. That probably needs a bit more thought and a bit more work from me. But in terms of the general direction, I like the role, and I think it's an important one for clubs to have. Because you're overseeing the whole football. When you get a first team coach, they are that. They are focusing on the first team and the performance. They're very, very, very busy jobs. And then you've got the academy, which is crucial to us. To oversee the whole lot, and all the comings and the goings, the budget, the things that go with running a football club and 23 professional footballers and I know 70 people in the academy. It's a big job.
I think Rob will take up some of that slack.
Yeah, Rob's experience is, I'm very pleased to see him. I watched the academy, well, I watched the second team play against Huddersfield last week, and, we've obviously got some players that are going to come through, and I was really pleased to see them.
Okay, very good. The injury to Connor Wilkinson and Josh Labadie, that sort of is a big kick. Am I right in assuming insurance covers that, so it wouldn't majorly affect the budget?
You're completely wrong.
So there's no insurance.
No.
There's no insurance.
No, that's not a Walsall Football Club thing. It's just generally the case. So the answer is no. So the budget, we have to live with the fact that we're paying those two players to do nothing for the first, till Christmas, I suspect. So no, I don't know where this myth has come from that you can insure footballers that are injured. It's just not true.
No, in any part of football.
No, it's not true.
We learn something new every day.
Yep. I wish.
Yeah. I want to talk about there's a fan experience company that has been employed. For me, I'm not sure where the value comes in that, given that we've got sort of a wealth of talent and in the club already, as well as sort of like the fan base that we can touch on for ideas and things like that. So is that going to pay for itself?
Yeah, it does pay for itself because he doesn't. The commercial deal, if it doesn't pay for itself, he doesn't get any money. So
I like that kind of deal.
Yeah, I do too. It's my favourite sort of deal. So no, it has to be successful for us for him to profit from it commercially.
Yeah.
And he has uncovered quite a few things in the club that we need to do better. That it's from car parks to turnstiles to lots and lots of things from fans' experience. He's identified and trained our people on how to be better. So if he didn't do it, I wouldn't spend money on something that had absolutely no value whatever. And we have had value from it. And as I say, commercially, the deal only makes sense if it makes sense for us, and otherwise I wouldn't do it.
Okay, that's good. The supporters liaison officer, Graham Whittaker, how do you think that's going?
Okay, I think it's let's think of the context here. I think with the fans-led report, in which the government is now a white paper, which I actually have and read, to bring in a different regulator on football, and all football clubs, whether they like it or not, will have to have fan representation on a board. Now, not many clubs have. I think we are one of 16 EFL clubs with fan representation on the board of the football club. So this is very much let's see how this works. Now, the reason Graham was chosen is that he was it just happened to be I chose to test this by putting someone on the board of the football club who represented the fans more directly than I could, who happened to be the SLO, and he was a big Walsall supporter anyway. So that's the reason Graham was put into that position by me, because I can see it coming, because the way football will change in the coming years. And Graham was already the SLO, and it therefore made quite a lot of sense. Just say we'll put the SLO on the board and we'll see how that goes. And he does a lot of work for me in terms of dealing with individual issues that fans have, both from this club and visiting clubs. He does a lot of liaison with other clubs. He's working on the green environment stuff for me at the moment, which is going to be imposed upon clubs going forward. He's doing a lot of work on that, which interests him. So, and he works with the company that you referred to earlier on in terms of the fans' experience. So he does a lot of work for the football club, and he does it for nothing.
That's all voluntary stuff, yeah.
That's all voluntary stuff, yeah. It's all voluntary. He takes unnecessary kickings from various fans, which he doesn't deserve, but he puts up with it because he loves the football club. He goes home and away, and I often see him at stadiums. He never comes in the boardroom. He goes out in the 1888 club, but he walks around the Bonsa suite or wherever. He doesn't come in the boardroom like he could, and he should, in my view, but he doesn't. He chooses his time, and he never comes to the directors when we go away.
No.
He goes on the coach.
I think perhaps it's not really up on the social media things as much as perhaps some people would like. Maybe he needs some more support in that role. For example,
maybe, but I think social media, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it, if I'm honest with you. And I'm not going to criticize somebody else for not being particularly up with it. We've got a comms team here who are, comms team, look at those things going on all the time. Do I want the SLO involved in that? No, not particularly. So I want Graham to concentrate on the support experience, dealing with it, all the things I've described. Do I want him? He does look at social media, by the way. He really does, because he gives me some feedback on it. But I don't want someone wedded to that and doing that all the time and not looking after other aspects of being the director on the board of the football club. He's got other things to do. And I'm never going to criticise someone for not scouring social media, because I don't, and I never will.
Okay, good. So what's your thoughts on the media team?
They're good. They are enthusiastic. They are energetic, and they do a very good job. I have no issues with them at all.
I had a good chat with Paul Giuano at the fans forum, because there were some issues with some of the videos and the presentation, and just my experience with media and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they were rubbish, and he would be the first to admit it. And he took, I collared him afterwards, and he was genuinely upset and apologetic about that. It won't happen again, but we all learned some lessons. So I think, we got a few things wrong, and that was certainly one of them. But in the round, am I happy with their contribution? I am, and they work really hard, and they care very much about the football club. They again take a lot of stick off people, again often very unfairly. But we got a few things wrong, and Paul held his hands up, came to see me personally about it, apologised. So I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire any longer than that. He apologised. He obviously felt it quite deeply. Enough said.
I think from my point of view, I'd be more than happy to offer some additional advice for some areas where I think they could improve further. I have emailed Paul this morning confirming that.
Yeah, well, Paul will respond to you. I'm absolutely sure of that. We're not against taking advice, and if someone's got any better ideas on how we can do things, let's do it. But what we will not do ever again is try and do a communications process from board directors with an iPhone at the back. That will never happen again as long as I'm chairman.
Well, to be honest, not wishing to poke at all, but the presentation for the announcement with Poundland, that was very poorly done in my mind. The initial introduction was somebody that was off camera, introducing people that weren't on camera, and then he walked across to give you a mic. That was
the extraordinary thing is we employed a professional company to do that. It wasn't our comms team.
I wouldn't have paid them.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether we did or not, but it wasn't. We can throw rocks at the comms team, but it wasn't them.
Well, I will engage closer with Paul Joannou, and sort of, I've got some ideas there that we can sort of take further forward. I think which will be a help for them and help them to be represented perhaps a little bit better. But
Okay.
Let me just check. I think we've got through most of my questions. We obviously hoping we got some new signings on the go.
Yeah, I mean, 4 is the answer to that question. And when the timings are right, we will announce them. But I'm aware, because I have to sign them off, that we've got 4 new signings, which we will announce. I would imagine we'll do them in the next few days. I don't see the reason why we wouldn't. So 4 at the moment.
Is it perhaps some of them, their contracts don't finish with their existing until end of June, perhaps?
No, the ones that we wouldn't have signed contracts with them if they were still in contract with another club, but they've signed contracts. Therefore, I think that we will release the names in due course. But I can't think of a reason why we haven't. But there's currently 4 that I've signed off.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And probably around another 4, I would guess. Or maybe more.
Yeah, I think a few more. Well, if you speak to Michael, a lot more. But I think I think you're looking at possibly another 6.
Yeah.
4 to 6 players. We've got to find obviously a replacement for Carl Rushworth.
Yeah.
And that's not easily done. That Michael's working on that obviously with Mike. So we've got to do that. So it's 4 done, and at least another 4 and possibly 6. I would have thought.
Well, it's nice to get away from the situation that we had a few years ago, where we didn't seem to have any signings coming until the middle of July.
No, I think we've gone early. We'll continue to go early. So to have 4 done within a week of the end of the season is pretty good going.
Yeah. A question we put online from Richard is about the local talent from like the Wolves and West Brom and Villa. When they go out on loan, they never seem to come to Walsall, or very rarely. What can we do to tie that up a bit more?
Well, I know Michael's had meetings with all the local clubs, and Matt Sadler's very close to Birmingham City and Villa. So I've insisted that they have much tighter relationships with those clubs than we have had. We've had people like Tariq, who was here.
Yeah.
1 or 2 others that have come our way. But I actually do agree, though, that we don't take sufficient advantage of that.
No.
And we need to be better at that. And I think you will find in the squad next year. I think you will find a couple of lads that have come from the local bigger clubs than ours into the Walsall forward, because I've insisted upon it, but I've suggested it might be a bloody good idea. So I think they are working on that, and I know they've had meetings with the Villa, and I'd expect something to come out of that. So whoever's made that comment, I think they're right.
Yeah.
And I think you might find that changes in the coming season.
Okay, that's good.
Louis Barry's a classic and played for Swindon against us last weekend.
We could have done with him, couldn't we?
I asked the question in my own naive chairman way: why the bloody hell is he playing for Swindon, not Walsall? But I think, but I'm sure, Michael has a encyclopedic knowledge of anything that kicks the ball anywhere, and so I think, and so does Wayne. So I think they'll be bringing in players from that. I mean, don't forget. All right, may not have been the Villa or West Brom, but Carl Rushworth from Brighton was a hell of a good find. Tyrese Shade from Leicester City was a Premiership lad. He came in. So it's not that we haven't got eyes and ears around the country on that, but I still think we should take advantage of where we're at with the local clubs. better than we have today.
I think perhaps this is more a question for Rob Williams, but would you be okay with me talking to Rob, of course?
You can't, if you speak through the comms team, I can't give you free access to everybody in the club. You know, that would be ridiculous for me to do that. So I think whatever you do, go through the club to Rob, because he's extremely busy at the moment. I do know that for a fact. You know, we've got a lot going on there. So just do it through the club. Don't go direct to Rob.
Okay. The bringing the youth through and getting those into the first team, that is a very difficult line to sort of hold steady. But that's the future of Walsall, I think, to protect the budget, really.
It's true of all clubs. Yeah, it's true of all clubs. We have an academy which has been pretty successful. We've still got, of course, Sam, that's come through there, and Kinsella has come through that sort of route, and of course the very important one with Rico Henry.
Yeah.
Those sort of one Rico Henry is extremely valuable to the club, and there's three. I think it's 3, 4 currently in the first year or the second year will be coming through, and they're already beginning to train with the first team, like Jack Shaw.
Yeah.
Jack has come through. He's already training with the first team, and there's 3. I was up there the other day when they were preparing for the Swindon game, and I think it was 4 of the academy training with the first team, and that's usually a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
And holding their own, they're good.
Yeah, I think Ronan Mayer and Shay Willock have sort of look like they've got plenty about them.
They do. He's Ram has been playing very well and scoring goals, which from midfield is pretty good, on his number 10 position. Yeah. So there's a few going to come through, and I was encouraged talking to Rob about those talents, but Jack has particularly come on strong in the last few months.
Yeah, I think I was disappointed a little bit with Matt Taylor, because coming from the Spurs Academy, I thought the young players would be sort of like really sort of developed and brought through, but he seemed to ignore them, didn't he, almost?
I don't so much ignore them, but I think a lot of players, that come out of Premiership academies fail in League Two. We only pick up the ones that are very successful.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not.
Yeah.
They really are not. They go into a League Two football club and they flounder. It does not work, and it's a real tough baptism, and some of them do not survive it.
No.
So, and there's a lot of them. So when you choose a player coming from a Premier League academy, you have to be extremely careful about it, because you bring them into a League Two club and you can destroy them. You can destroy their careers too very, very early on. So, and Matt was really, really careful about that.
Yeah.
If he felt a Premiership lad from Spurs was ready, he could have brought them in.
Yeah.
But his judgment was that he didn't. But he felt Therese was ready. He felt Carl Rushworth's ready, particularly when it's their first loan deal. You have to be really careful, and I worry that sometimes we bring in some Premiership under 23s that are just not ready for League Two football. When we play the under 23s in the cup, when Brighton were here and Chelsea were here, we beat them.
Yeah,
so
I think
2 of them are ready, but a lot are not. And I do worry about the damage we do to their careers by bringing them in. They come to Walsall, they come to wherever, and you never hear of them again.
No. I think it's easy to forget how young they are.
They are young. They're 18, 19,
Yeah.
People forget how young Tyrese is. And I think you forget that Carl Rushworth is 20.
Yeah.
He's 20. When he came to join us, he was 19. So you've got to be really careful how you deal with these young talents, because You can build them and make them very successful, as with Carl, or you can do the opposite. And so you have to be really, really careful. The jump between playing under 23s or academy football in the Premier League to is a big physical jump. Not technically, physically.
Yeah.
And if we thought it was the right thing to do, we'd bring them in. And if it's not, then we won't do it.
I had a very good chat with Neil. And I sort of, from that interview, we sort of got a sense of what it's like for the parents when their kids are sort of so young and sort of going the other end of the country. It's a big leap. It's a big leap for a parent to let their child go.
They're living away from home. They're only 19. They're only 18 years old. You remember yourself when you're 18 and 19 years old? It's tough. It's a tough baptism. And you're playing, you come to Walsall, you're playing Oldham away on a Tuesday night, and you're being, treated. And a lot of those players at that age are not. And if they are, we'll bring them in. I think, as I said, I think we should be better at it, particularly with the Villa and the Albion and Wolves potentially. But only if we bring someone who's not ready. And we have brought some players in that are just not ready for it.
Yeah. Got you. Leigh, I think we'll leave it there. That's been a really good discussion. Thank you very much for your time. And
you're welcome.
We'll have to get you on again when we're sort of talking about playoffs and stuff.
Well, I hope so, because you've heard me say 1,000 times. At the heart, I'm a Walsall fan, and I don't want to be, messing around in 15th, 16th place. I mean, we shouldn't be, and I'm frankly tired of it. So, I think with Michael and what we're trying to build, I think we'll arrest it in the coming 12 months, because I think we've got some momentum, and I think Michael is, if not aggressively ambitious.
Yeah, I think he's a good guy to take us forward. Just need to sort of support him and keep.
We will support him. I mean, I supported that, and I will support him. The board will support him, because that's what we're there to do.
Yeah.
But we will support him because he demands it of me, and so he should.
That's it. Obviously, you can't have everything because nobody can.
No, we'd have a hell of a big squad and a very expensive squad, and probably be bankrupt by Christmas. So you've got to keep it control.
Of course, it's all about controls, isn't it? And
it's very easy to make a football club into trouble. It's very hard to get out of it.
Good, nice one. Right then, thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Walsall Fan TV, the joy and the pain. We want more joy next season.
We do.
Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Bye.